Welcome back, all of you ball ticklers, to another exciting edition of MV Pretenders. As always, I am your beautiful host, the Jace Man, Jace Barnett, sitting alongside my ugly co-host, my baby brother, Buddy. You know, an interesting thing too about babies is they're weak. I don't know if you knew this or not, but babies are not as strong as men. Man, baby. So we've got the strength and the good looks. We've got the wimpy and the fat. So basically, this is the strong and pretty side of the broadcast, much like Robert Oberst,
Who's
and
Robert Oberst?
it's one of the strongest men in the world. And then we have our baby side of the podcast. But here's the thing: enough about the intros. Let's really start talking about what we're here for, and that's fantasy sports. That's why everybody's tuning in, right?
Hopefully.
So, and by everybody we mean shout out to our one viewer Wyatt, and and hopefully he joins with several other people. And Wyatt, like, share, subscribe, okay? Tell others about this, man. We need help. So let's go ahead and talk about how week one went, and then let's talk a little bit about week two. I guarantee you guys soon we're going to be talking about more sports, but we're going to stick in the NFL today, okay? Does that sound good to you?
Sounds great.
Okay, so without further ado, let me go ahead and tune it over to you real quick, just so that you can get our audience painstakingly waiting for our analysis of week one.
Absolutely. So,
Absolutely.
so what we're going to wind up doing is we're going to tell you who made the splash on last week, who's going to make this. Is it going to do that every time I say the word splash?
It might. I don't know. We'll see.
And who's going to make the splash come week two? So let's just jump right off in the deep end and get right on down to the meat of the order.
I have no idea what you're saying, but it's sounding more like a porn podcast than a fantasy sports podcast. So go right ahead.
Right on. So first, let's go ahead and recap on how well we did on our week one picks.
How did we do on week one?
Yeah, how did we do? Well said, Homer. Well said.
That's kind of how I think week one went. So we should probably go ahead and review what week one looked like, right?
Absolutely.
So let's go ahead and pull it up real quick. This is week two, so I need to make some adjustments. We'll go back and look at week one, okay?
Yes, sounds good.
And I'll get that pulled up here, and then we'll go ahead and review how things went. So we're picking up on our Sunday games because the Thursday game we had already aired by the time that we talked about it. So in the first game of the week, it was those good old Eagles versus the Washington football team.
Man, that defense looked tough. 3 interceptions and 8 sacks.
All I know is that neither one of us picked it right, and that's a sentence that you're going to hear a lot as we go through week one. So
because how did we do? Man, I love Homer.
So anyway, neither one of us got that right, right? We'll go into the second game of the week, which was the Dolphins and the Patriots. So let's talk a little bit about the Dolphins and the Patriots, shall we?
Absolutely. Especially seeing how I got that one correct.
You did get that one right. So congratulations.
Thank you.
That's all we really need to know. We're just going to go through the wins and losses here. We're not going to go any kind of analysis. Screw that. That analysis isn't important. Points have already been distributed in the game, so all that matters is what's coming up. But we kind of want to review this because it's nice to see who did better between myself and him. Because when we're talking about who does better,
you just want to talk about it because you did better.
This is true. Well, I wouldn't say that's the only reason I want to, but I would say it is the main reason I want to, okay? So having said that, then we're going to talk about, you said Dolphins and Patriots, you got right. Packers and Vikings. Guess who got that one right?
I believe both.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. We both got that right. That's right. So we did well on that one, although that wasn't exactly the hardest one to see. Well, again, I thought it was going to be a good game. It was a pretty good game.
It was a good game as far as, race for points. I mean, obviously neither defense really stepped up in that game.
Well, I didn't expect them to, but I expected to be the kind of football fans like to watch. And I said Aaron Rodgers was going to come out with something to prove. Kind of upset about the way the draft went, and man, he looked like MV Rodgers there.
Absolutely, but you also got to look at the fact that on that team, the offensive side of the ball, everyone looked good from the top of the roster on down. Rodgers looked great. Adams looked great. Scantling looked pretty good. I mean, it was Jones was awesome. Everybody played exceptionally well.
Yeah, exceptionally. I should have said absolutely instead. So anyway, let's talk about the next game, shall we? Colts Jaguars, and guess who got that one right?
I believe the NFL got it right.
Yeah, we didn't do very well there. So then we. The good thing is we really redeemed ourselves with the Bears versus the Lions because we picked that one right, right?
Absolutely.
No, we did not. And so,
However, I did pick that AP was going to go ahead and showcase that he still has it, and he did that. He made a splash. He done really well. He had almost 100 yards rushing, added about another 36 receiving, had an over 100-yard game. Way to go, AP.
yeah, way to go, AP. Talking like he's his friend or something. So anyway, in the next game of the week, what we're going to do is your mic muted?
It was.
Okay. So having said that, the next game of the week that we're going to talk about is which game?
I believe that it's going to be the Raiders versus the Panthers.
Raiders Panthers. Did we address? We did Colts and Jaguars, right? Did we address Bears and Lions?
We did.
Okay. So we talked about our two failures. And then we go Raiders Nation versus the Panthers, and we both said that Las Vegas was going to come out victorious, right?
We said they were going to make a splash.
So in that thing, what we did is we talked about Raiders beating the Panthers. We moved on into Bills Jets. An interesting thing about Bills Jets is I wished I could go back and play the analysis from last week because you really talked about the Jets going ahead and beating the Bills, and I think that you said that they were going to beat them by way more than a touchdown. Um, who won that game, by the way?
I really couldn't say. I missed that game somehow.
Well, it turns out that I was right about that one. So then we're going to go ahead and take a look at the next
I was
one.
correct about the Bills' defense still looking pretty good.
Big deal. You picked against them. So then we're going to talk about Ravens and Browns, and that one wasn't exactly the world's hardest sell. So we both got Ravens there. Then we talked about Seahawks and Falcons, and shall we talk about the Seahawks and the Falcons a little bit?
Absolutely. Let's talk.
Absolutely.
Let's get right on in there.
Right. Again, he's making it sound like a porn podcast. So here's the thing about the Seahawks and the Falcons. So if you guys did watch last week, which again nobody did, which is good, but I wanted to pick the Seahawks, but he started and he went off, and then he kind of swayed me, and so I changed my pick to Falcons. And then when we did a little bit of recap later, I couldn't remember who I picked in that game, and he said, "Oh, you picked the Falcons."
I said you picked the
You picked the
Seahawks.
Seahawks, and I was like, "Yeah, I did pick the Seahawks." It turns out I didn't. I wanted to pick the Seahawks, but he swayed me with his analysis, and that should go to show you guys: do not be swayed by his analysis, because when you are swayed by his
But
analysis,
we want them to like my analysis.
no, we want them to watch the show. Whether they like your analysis or not is irrelevant.
Absolutely.
So you see that's the thing. So I changed my pick, and as a result, we both rendered some.
However, my analysis also was that Julio Jones was going to look excellent, and he did.
Yeah,
He was my guy to watch.
the whole world knew that Julio Jones is a stud. So then we were going to go ahead and talk about Chargers Bengals, right? And we both said that the Chargers would walk all over the Bengals and make the Bengals look really pathetic. And it was a close game, man. And the Chargers did good to squeak out by a field goal.
It was a really low-scoring game, too. It looked pretty much like the Chargers were kind of missing Phillip Rivers.
It looked like the Chargers were missing football. So anyway, we're going to go ahead and talk about Cardinals 49ers. And this was another one that we said to ourselves, hey man, we don't even really need to give our picks because everyone listening or watching is going to pick the same team that we are. We know that the 49ers are going to beat the Cardinals, right?
Absolutely.
Because everybody and their brother, pun intended, knows what was going to happen in that game, right? Only it didn't happen that way because the Cardinals came in there and took it to the 49ers and walked away with a victory on the road.
In a very surprising upset.
Hey, guess what that means? We got that one wrong, too. So we then moved on to the next game. Right. We moved on to the next game, and the next game is worth talking about because what I wanted to say about this one was it was time for the Bucks and the Saints to go at it. And I can remember all the terrible things that you were saying about Drew Brees last week. And about
I remember you telling me I must pick the Bucks.
And you did. So, like, another good thing is if you think something's going to happen and he agrees with you, you think you've got a good pick, go ahead and gamble with him because he'll bet on whichever side you tell him to bet. And that's a really great thing. Bookies love him. So, but anyway, he's trying to go into denial mode right now. He's trying to pretend that he actually likes Drew Brees and he wanted to pick the Saints. But
Drew Brees is my all-time favorite quarterback.
Mm-hmm. All I know is when the show aired, I asked who's going to win the game, and you said, well, Drew's gonna screw things up, so the Bucks are gonna win. And I was like, no, man, the Saints are gonna win.
I mean, MVP this year is gonna be Lamar Jackson yet again for 2 times in a row, but Drew Brees is still my favorite quarterback of all time.
And I believe when I said, "What is your opinion of Drew Brees?" you said, so,
Drew Brees, if you're watching this, which I'm sure you're not, don't listen to this fool.
He should listen to me. He shouldn't listen to his detractors because you're just a hater. That's what it comes down to. You're a hater, and you should really be ashamed of yourself. So after that, the next game on the docket, like it's a courtroom or something, was Cowboys Rams, and this was a game that you actually picked better than me for a change. Yeah.
Sounds about right.
So I said Cowboys. You said Rams, and
I said, hello, California.
Rams pulled off a victory somehow.
However, that does make your thing correct about one California team ruining California football for everybody. Because, I mean, the 49ers did lose.
Right. So in the next game, it was time for Steelers and Giants. And who did you say was going to win that one? I can't really remember what you said.
I believe I said the Giants were going to pounce all over the Steelers.
Who won that game, by the way?
Shut up, Bob Barker.
I'm serious. Who won? Was it the Steelers? Did anyone pick them in this room? I feel like someone in this room picked the
Tucker?
Steelers. Tucker doesn't even watch football. He looked at me weird, like, I guess I do. But I believe it was me who said the Steelers, so I'm right. And you're not.
Absolutely.
And so there was one more game of the week, Titans-Broncos, and we both messed up by picking the Broncos. And I wanted to pick Tennessee in that game.
Again, you were persuaded by my analysis.
I don't even know if you went first in that one.
I did go first.
Because I said, hey, why don't I go ahead and... Yeah, you probably did sway me. So he was able to talk me into 2 bad picks. Still, I came out on top with more victories than he did, although nothing to write home about. We both did terrible, absolutely.
Well, I mean, I would have gotten the Bucs Saints right, you know.
Okay, so it would have been a tie. We would have both equally sucked. If I hadn't changed my pick on the other one, I would have won by 2 or 3 if you had let me sway you. But I wound up winning because you did hate Drew Brees so much, and and yeah, you really got to stop coughing. It's making us look terrible on screen. Which I mean, you look bad anyway.
I'm muting my mic when I
It
do
still
so.
makes us look terrible. So here's the deal. We did our week 1 stuff. Now what we need to do is week 2 because nobody cares about week 1. You probably didn't even need to sit through that, right? So let's go ahead and look at week 2. So I need to go ahead and make some changes here. Let's go ahead and scroll up here. Let's go ahead and go to week 2. And now that the NFL.com has loaded, does that look like week 2?
That does look like week 2.
Absolutely.
So the first game is actually going to be tomorrow, and it is an Ohio battle, right?
Yes, that is Ohio versus Ohio.
Okay, so how do we think that's going to go down?
Well, that's a really tough one because both those teams suck.
If somebody's O must go.
Yes, well, they could draw.
Somebody's O is going to go. Sorry.
I'm going to go with the Bengals just because while Baker Mayfield does have the more talent on his team offensively,
Go away, Tucker.
apparently he doesn't know how to use his talent on his team because, well, look what the Browns have done since he's been there. Not all that great. So let's go with last year's Heisman Trophy winner and go with the Bengals.
Okay, so we'll start out with disagreement right off the bat, which is what I like. I'm going to go ahead and say that Cleveland starts the season out 1-1, just like a non-championship caliber team does. So
Cincinnati.
Cleveland.
Cincinnati.
And I'm going to say less than a touchdown.
I'll go with that one just because I am not expecting good things from this game. I will watch this game.
Might be a great game. Don't know.
I will watch this game because, like he just said, you don't know. You never know how it's going to go. But it could be a good game, but I'm not expecting too much.
Moving on. Too much time on the Ohio game. Jags Titans. Again, somebody's O must go.
But this is the good kind of O. And the person whose O is going to go is going to be the Titans. I'm going to give it to the Jags.
He's going to give it to the Jags. And you know what? I am thinking this. I'm thinking last week I wanted to pick the Titans over the Broncos. I should have picked the Titans over the Broncos. This week, I'm going to say sorry to Tennessee by saying Titans 2-0. That's how I'm going to go. Then we're going to talk about Panthers and Buccaneers. So, what do you think?
To me, the quote-unquote GOAT of football, exactly.
Sorry,
Mr. Tom Brady. I still don't think that he has shown too good of rapport with the Bucs, his team. So I'm going to go with Carolina.
He's going to go with Carolina. And because he's going with Carolina, and because I just insulted Tom Brady, I am going to say, Tom, I'm sorry that you're going to lose 2 games in a row to start the season with your new team. And I'm going to go Panthers win as well.
Absolutely.
Wouldn't it be great to see, the Buccaneers go like 0-16 this year? It's not going to happen, but it would be awesome, right?
It wouldn't be awesome. That'd be really terrible for Tampa Bay fans.
Like anyone cares.
Probably the whole city of Tampa Bay. Okay, so then it's time to talk about Broncos and Steelers, right?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
So, do you want to talk first about this one, or you want me to talk first about this one?
You're already talking. Why would you stop? Keep going.
That's a good point there. So we have the Broncos and we got the Steelers. You know what? Let's say the Steelers are going to keep their win streak going, and we're going to give it to them, but we're going to go by less than a touchdown.
Okay, well, I'm going to say that the Steelers beat the Broncos as well, 2-0. That's what I'm going to say.
Absolutely.
So here's the next game to talk about. Oh, and I guess I need to say how much. I'm going to say by exactly 7 points. That means it's time for a little bit of Rams and Eagles talk, right?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
So again, even though he didn't make a splash this last Sunday, he's going to make a splash this Sunday, and we got to go with my boy Cooper Kupp.
Who was that?
Cooper Kupp.
Who?
Cooper Kupp.
They didn't get to see you on the screen when you were like, Cooper Kupp. So, you know, I was hoping I didn't get a chance to see that. But anyway. And you said that he's going to do what?
He's going to make a splash.
Right. So, I forgot. Who did you say is going to win the game then?
Well, obviously, if I'm picking Cooper Kupp to make that splash, I got to go with the Rams.
He's got to go with the Rams.
2-0, baby.
2-0, baby. And I'm just going to go ahead and agree again. Not because I'm Cooper Kupp's love child, but just because I just don't think the Eagles are going to play very well. So there's going to be that. Which means it's time for some 49ers and some Jets. Okay? 49ers and Jets.
I'm going to say the 49ers are going to come back and, you know, they're going to redeem themselves and they're going to get this win here. Although being out last Sunday of 3 starting wide receivers probably did not help them very
Absolutely.
much.
And how many of those starting receivers are coming back this week?
There's one possible, and that's the guy I was talking about to make the splash last Sunday if he played, and that is Brandon Ayuk. He has a chance of go ahead and playing this Sunday. He still has been missing his practices, so we'll see how that goes.
And what about the other two?
Deebo Samuel, he's going to be out for probably about 6 to 8 weeks still.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't expect him to show up on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
Who was the other one that was supposed to go ahead and start? I'd have to recheck, but he's going to be out for a little while as well.
Yeah, so basically what we're telling you right now is they were down 3 offensive pieces of weaponry last week. They're going to be down 2 pieces of backfield weaponry this week. And as a result, I'm going to say that the New York Jets beat the 49ers. That's what I'm going to say. All right, so then it's time to talk a little bit about Bills and Dolphins. And who doesn't like talking Bills and Dolphins, right?
I usually don't like talking Bills.
Okay, well, since you don't like
it's a
talking
different
Bills,
kind of Bills, but, you know, I don't like talking about them.
Oh, so what you're talking about is you don't like paying bills.
Yeah, that always sucks.
All right, whatever. So Bills, Dolphins, what's your pick?
It's like, there you got your check, and now you don't have your check no more.
Bills, Dolphins, what's your pick?
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. So
Absolutely.
what we're going to pick here is between the Bills and the Dolphins. I think this is actually going to be a really good, exciting game. You know what? I'm going to pick against the Bills yet again. I'm going to go with the Dolphins.
Okay, so these are 2 teams that I picked to win in week 1. One of these teams let me down. One of these teams didn't. Since I like to stand behind the people who stand behind me, Bills beat the Dolphins and go 2-0.
That sounded like that hurt.
Well, I kind of wanted to do something like say, hey, because one of these teams let me down last week, I know that both teams need to let me down right away. So, but I decided not to do that. So, Vikings, Colts, what is your pick, brother?
All right, brother. What we're going to go with here is, you know what, let's go Colts.
Let's not.
However, I will say this while I'm picking the Colts is anyone that did go ahead and pick up Taylor instead of Marlon Mack, who was the starting running back for the Colts, Nice pick right there because Marlon Mack, he did get injured and he's going to be gone for a few weeks, which is meaning Taylor is going to be the starting running back. So if you did pick him for your season long, that's definitely gonna boost you up pretty well. Do you expect him to make a splash?
Yeah. To that, I would say
Absolutely.
I really wouldn't say that, but I wanted to touch the button again because I made these and I want to use them. Okay.
Absolutely.
So having said that, then the fact of the matter is, you said Colts. You were wrong because Vikings win the game. The next game to talk about is Detroit out at Green Bay. And what do you see happening in this game?
I see Pack Nation going, go Pack, go.
Go Pack, go. Go Pack, go. That's what he sees. Well, the way I see this game is
Still, AP gonna have another good game.
Detroit Lions are really, really going to be good this year. I really expect that. I knew they were going to win last week. I hate them for not winning. But no matter how good I think they're going to be, I'll be honest. I have a bit of a man crush on Aaron Rodgers.
I know.
He's a dang good football player. As good as he is, and people like him a lot. They respect him a lot. I think he may be one of the most underrated quarterbacks in the history of the NFL. That's how good I think he is.
I almost got you his rookie card as a Christmas present one year, but I didn't.
Which I don't really collect cards, so it was kind of a weird thing, but that's okay. But here's the thing.
That's why I didn't do it.
You did get it for me.
Oh, did I get it?
Yeah. Anyway, here's the thing. So, yeah, Aaron Rodgers is well respected, multi-time MVP. People talk about how he's one of the greatest players in the game. People talk about he's one of the greatest players of all time. And even with that praise, I still think he is criminally underrated. And so I also feel bad for him. You know, he spent 95% of his career playing without an offensive line and getting beat up for 60 minutes and still.
Also, watching a lesser quarterback in Brett Favre go ahead and play instead of him.
Yeah, that makes a lot of people in Green Bay mad. Probably not as many now because he's had the kind of success that he's had. You can probably get away with that. There was a time when that would have been blasphemous and sacrilege, right? But I think Green Bay made a mistake making Aaron set behind Favre for a couple extra years more than he should have.
Especially whenever Favre was towards the end of his career throwing more interceptions than touchdowns.
And he was doing that towards the beginning of his career as well. I mean, that's what Favre was. He was basically a gunslinger, touchdown or interception kind of guy. So, but anyway.
Go big or go home, baby.
Enough talk about my Aaron Rodgers man crush. Let me just go ahead and say that the Packers beat the Lions, okay? Falcons, Cowboys. What do you got going on there?
Well, obviously, since I picked the Falcons being one of the two teams to make it to the Super Bowl this year.
It's off to a great start.
They went 0-1. They're going to have to definitely bounce back and be like, Barnett, buddy, we got you here, man. And we're going to redeem ourselves. We're going to bounce back, and we're going to win this one for you.
I have to say that neither one of these teams looked very good in Week 1. If the Falcons are
the Falcons' offense looked phenomenal. Their defense wasn't there in order to get it done, but their offense looked really well.
Phenomenal, huh?
Yes.
I don't know if I would agree with that.
They had 3 receivers catching 9 receptions apiece.
I'm aware of what they had.
That's pretty good. Gurley had a pretty good game as well. So, all in all, their offense really clicked. It was just the defense.
Well, here's the thing, okay? Falcons, Cowboys. I think the Cowboys are going to have a better year this year than a lot of people expected. It's not going to be as good of a year as the Falcons are going to have. I don't think that we're going to see them in the Super Bowl like someone else thought. Now that could change. We're really early in the season, right? Maybe they run off 15 wins in a row now. Who knows? Probably not though. Anyway, they will get it done this week, and they'll get a win in Dallas. Okay, Week 2, Falcons, and they will do so by 8 points. 8 points. Okay. New York Football Giants versus the Chicago Bears. So, are you picking the New York Football Giants, as Chris Berman likes to call them, or are you going to go with the Bears?
Well, the Giants look terrible on both sides of the ball Sunday. The Bears, I mean, they looked good on defense, which is what they're known for. Uh, but you know what? A good defense with a poor offense is only going to get you so far. And I think both of these teams after week 2 are going to be 1-1. Going with the Giants.
All right, he's going with the Giants. And I'm thinking that this game is going to be kind of reminiscent of the way football starts a lot of times, where it's famine or feast for a lot of teams. Not the way the last couple seasons have played out, but I think this one will. So that means, essentially what I'm telling you is Bears got to win. Bears will get another win. You're going to see people stacking wins and losses for the first few weeks of the season. And so Bears beat the New York Football Giants.
So how's your feast or famine look against the 1-0 and 1-0 teams that we're going to be coming up next with the Washington Football Team and the Arizona Cardinals?
Well, obviously that can't really work when two winners are playing against one another. Another O must go. So that formula is only working when you've got a winner playing a loser. So yeah. So the Washington Football Team versus the Arizona Cardinals, who, by the way, really should be the St. Louis Cardinals. You don't remember them because you were a little bitty baby when they left town. I remember them because I wasn't a little bitty baby, because as we've already discussed, man.
You're old.
Man.
Old.
Baby. Or now man.
Old.
Baby. Whatever. Good looking. I am a silver fox. You are just
old.
Okay. So anyway, Washington Football Team, Arizona Cardinals, right?
Right. So who are you going with?
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 I am going with. Yes, a crappy team. The Washington Football Team, which either team you go with is kind of a crappy team anyway, even though they're both 1-0. But I'm going to say that the Washington Football Team, their defense yet again is going to help them win this game. Now, I don't think they're going to be putting up 3 receptions and 8 sacks again, as that's a pretty phenomenal week for a defense.
Absolutely.
But I do think that their defense is going to look alive, do pretty well against the Arizona Cardinals, and they're going to walk away with a W.
Yeah, so here's what I'm going to say is that one of these teams is going to make a splash. I had to use a splash since he hasn't said splash nowhere near as many times this episode as I thought he would. I'm almost being like, man, I shouldn't even made that freaking sound effect now. He's ruined it for me.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
So the thing with this is, I just talked about how the Cardinals should be the St. Louis Cardinals. Just like there's the New York Football Giants, should be the St. Louis Football Cardinals. That's what they'll always be to me. But they haven't been there in forever. We've already had another team come in and leave town since then. Can't play any football in St. Louis, apparently. But I'm holding a grudge. So when it's the battle of the 1-0s, the Washington Football Team.
Well, I mean, there is some football in St. Louis with the Extreme Football League, right?
We don't know that. They went bankrupt. They folded after mid-season one because of Corona. It's kind of a sad thing, too, because the XFL season was actually looking pretty good. They were playing high-quality football.
It was some really good football.
It was good. Now, The Rock has bought it. I don't know if you're aware of that or not.
I was not aware.
The Rock bought the XFL. Says it's going to continue. People are acting like it's going to be business as usual. I don't think he's come out and said that there's going to be a season in the next season or if there's going to be a delay. I don't know that.
It's probably going to determine, depending upon how the COVID stuff plays out, I'm sure.
Speaking of which, The Rock just healed from COVID, so congratulations on that. Sorry that you had COVID, Mr. Rock. Hopefully you and your family are doing well. But anyway, Rock bought, and his investment team bought the XFL, but it's been pretty much mum since then. So we don't know much about it. We don't know if they're going to continue into the next season. We don't know if it's going to be the same 8 teams. We don't know if there's going to be more teams. There's going to be a retraction. We know nothing, really. A lot of speculation from other people coming out. We don't know. So to answer your question, there may or may not be football in St. Louis next year.
So he turned around and gave Vince his money back, huh?
Well, very little bit of it. Vince put over $500 million into this project, or maybe he didn't. He said he was willing to put $500 million in the project. Probably only spent 100, 150, only 150.
Well, I was talking about the money that Vince paid him,
Yeah.
over the years of.
Well, here's the thing. So Vince just shelled out hundreds of millions of dollars in this XFL project. The Rock turned around and bought it for $15 million. And I bet the WWE paid Rock more than $15 million over the years.
I'm sure, but he still gave him some of his money back. That was very nice of him.
He's probably gonna do okay in the thing. And The Rock was a collegiate football player.
Yes, he was.
Loved
He played
football.
for the Hurricanes.
He did.
Whenever the Hurricanes were a good team.
Yeah. Which, the XFL is not fantasy sports. Maybe we'll do an XFL fantasy sport thing. Maybe we'll actually do an XFL fantasy thing here. Maybe we'll run our own XFL football league.
Assuming you know that it comes back, right?
Well, it's coming back. They didn't buy it not to do anything with it, but just don't know if it'll be back the next season or not. Okay, so anyway, we talked about all of that, and I don't know why, but anyway, Washington football team beats the Arizona Cardinals. Now we're going to talk.
So you went with them as well?
Yeah, I said that a minute ago. So here's the thing. Now we're going to talk about another team that plays football in the state of Missouri, the Kansas City Chiefs. Which did they do okay last year? I'm trying to remember how they did.
No, I think they did terrible. When they were like what, 2-12?
Yeah, I don't think that's exactly the way it went. They actually had a pretty decent season. I mean, there have been better seasons in the history of the league. So,
There has been better seasons in the history of the league. However, they did win the Super Bowl, so they had that going for them.
They played pretty well throughout the season. So anyway,
There's still been better seasons.
Yeah. So Chiefs Chargers, some 1-0s against 1-0s, and what's going to happen here?
Expect the Chiefs to make a big splash over the Chargers. Again, that rookie running back, he made a splash. He looked really good. Kelsey, he always looks good. However, Patrick Mahomes did not look all that great. He only passed for like 230 yards, picked up about 20 or so on the ground.
I don't want to stop you real quick before you.
He did have 3 TDs, but
I want to stop you real quick. He just said that Patrick Mahomes did not look that good because he only had about 230 yards. Now, I'm not saying that he's wrong, although I'm not saying he's right either. But what I will say is that statement is really not an indictment of Patrick Mahomes as much as it is a statement of modern-day football. There was a time, not that long ago, when if a quarterback put up 230 passing yards in the game, he had a really, really dang good game, and that was a good game.
300 was phenomenal.
Yeah, now we look at 230 like it's pretty pedestrian, like they never even slung the football before. It's kind of crazy. But anyway, go ahead.
So do expect Patrick Mahomes to come back out with something to prove in this game, and put up about 350, 400-yard game.
I don't know if we'll see those kind of yardage or not. I don't really know. I didn't see anything wrong with his performance last week, to be honest. But here's the thing. These are both two teams that I like a lot. I like the Chiefs and I like them, again, a lot. I expect that we'll be seeing both of these teams in the postseason, and I expect we'll see them both pretty late in the postseason, unless they meet early. Which anyway, here's the thing though: Chiefs over the Chargers. Write it down, and write it down in the tune of more than 7.
Sounds good.
Okay. Ravens Texans.
Well, obviously, I got to go with my
Absolutely.
Super Bowl pick. The Ravens over the Texans. And yes, definitely more than 7.
Absolutely.
Ravens over the Texans. Exactly 7.
Lamar Jackson's making a bigger splash than that.
Okay, Patriots and Seahawks. Okay, so interesting thing. The Patriots are Brady-less, but
they got Captain Cam.
They are not quarterback-less. What a great week Cam Newton had. I mean, he came out looking like
Captain Cam.
like the Patriots are his team. I couldn't believe how well he gelled and connected with them. Looks like Belichick has done it again.
I still feel like he could gel a little bit more with his receiving core. Um, as far as putting the ball where they actually like it. It did seem like they helped him out a little bit there, making some tough catches. Though Captain Cam did look pretty good, and I expect him to go ahead and take this game as well.
He looked great, and I feel
His running game was on point too.
I feel like it may be a mistake for me to say this, but I wanted to pick Seattle last week, and then you talked me out of it, and I feel like I need to give them an apology, like I awarded an apology earlier. They don't come very often. I'm giving out 2 apologies in 1 week. Kind of crazy. Seahawks beat the Patriots, and their MVP looking Cams.
Well, that's not true. You gave out another apology earlier as well. You gave out one to Tom Brady, and you said that you're sorry. You're picking against him again because you love that guy so much.
Yeah, well, Tom, it's not my fault that you are a piece of. I love that. I love that. I don't love Tom. And I might be one of these Tom Brady haters because of his success. I don't know.
I will say he's probably arguably the best clutch time quarterback of all time, though. There is no guy I'd rather have the football during clutch.
And I would literally rather have any football quarterback over him just because I can't stand him. And I don't know why I hate him. I mean, he's not really seems like a bad guy. He wears nail polish, which, I'm not saying anything bad about other people who wear nail polish, except you shouldn't wear nail polish if you're a dude. That's just my opinion. And I know, me making statements like that are very controversial now. That's another thing that's changed. So we're talking about how 230 yards is a weird thing for the change, right?
Moving right along.
There was a time a few years ago when if you were talking about a guy wearing nail polish, you could actually say something about that. But
moving right along.
Now you can't say anything about that.
Which is why we're moving right along.
Apparently, he's really he's afraid of offending people. I'm not afraid of offending anyone. I'm not saying that you're a bad person if you're a guy who wears.
We're still trying to get the viewers. Let's not throw them out before we get
Penn
them.
Jillette. He wears nail polish on one finger. Do you know why Penn Jillette wears nail polish on one finger?
I'm guessing for sleight of hand, follow the nail polish?
No, he actually wears it as a tribute to his mother, which I think is actually a kind of a sweet gesture. Still weird. I mean, guys, we're not supposed to wear nail polish. Just my opinion.
Well, mine seems like it would have been a pretty decent guess, you would think.
I'm surprised you knew who Penn Jillette was, but anyway.
Of course I know who he is. Penn and Teller, baby.
Penn and Teller, baby. So anyway, there's only one game left to talk about, right?
That's right. Mr. Breeze! Gonna get another win.
You're actually going to pick Drew?
I usually always pick Drew just about. Dude's phenomenal.
What you said about him last week? You're going to now suck up to him?
I didn't say anything bad about him. I never say anything about the guy. I wouldn't even say arguably. I would say the greatest quarterback of all time.
Okay.
Every time he throws that football, bam, another milestone, increases his lead.
Okay, so
history's made every game he plays.
I'm just gonna give you a chance to cut me off before I started talking again.
Absolutely.
So anyway,
Absolutely.
I won't say that Drew Brees is the greatest quarterback of all time because he's not. I will say.
Who do you think the greatest quarterback of all time is?
Not Drew Brees.
Who?
It depends. Are we talking? It depends what criteria we're talking about.
Okay, well, let's go with career percentage of pass completions. Oh, wait. Drew Brees has that one. Let's go with, I don't know, most yards thrown. Oh, wait. He has that one, too. Oh, let's go with touch. Oh, damn. He's got that one as well.
You ever heard of longevity?
Yeah.
That has something to do with it, too. It depends on how we're going to define the greatest of all time. If we want to talk about the greatest quarterback skills of all time, someone who has great composure, the ability to do it all, I'm actually going to go with the guy that I had the man crush on earlier, I'm going to go with Aaron Rodgers. And I'm going to pick Aaron Rodgers for a few different reasons. Number one, he's got better arm strength. He's got just as good at accuracy as Drew does. He's got much better legs than Drew, and he's did it his whole career without a line, which Drew Brees has had the ability to sit behind a decent line. Although Drew's had some good scrambles too, and he's performed with some lackluster lines over the year, but never the kind of punishment that Rodgers has had to face. And they both had some pretty good weapons, and they both turned people into weapons who weren't. So I'm not going to say anything there. Two fine quarterbacks, but I'm gonna say Aaron Rodgers is probably the greatest quarterback I've ever seen play the game.
Drew Brees.
I'm gonna say Aaron Rodgers. Two great quarterbacks. And if you would have thrown in some other names like Tom Brady or Peyton Manning or Joe Montana again, it seems like Joe Montana is going to get people to talk about him till the day forever for some reason.
Well, I mean, you could throw Kurt Warner in there. I mean, the guy did take the Arizona Cardinals to the Super Bowl. I mean, that says something. If you can take the Arizona Cardinals to a Super Bowl, you're pretty dang good.
It's a bit of a homer pick there. Kurt was good, but he wasn't that good. But the guy made the Hall of Fame, and not bad for a stock boy or a bagger. So pretty good. Anyway, Saints Raiders, right? That's really the talk of the day, right? Saints Raiders.
Saints Raiders.
Drew Brees and the Saints, right?
Yes.
Okay, ball ticklers, mark it down here. I think that the Saints and Drew Brees are going to do really well this season, but week 2. They will face their first defeat of the season. Raider Nation beats the Saints at home. Las Vegas cashes some chips this weekend.
So he's already picked one wrong for sure.
Probably picked more wrong than that. Based on how we did perform last week, if you're a bettor, you should be listening to what we say. In any game that we've agreed on, the safe money has to go the other way. Okay, but anyway, Vegas is cashing some chips next Monday, and they will beat the Saints. I'm not confident in this pick. Trust me. As a matter of fact, everything in me tells me that the Saints are the safer pick in this game, but something in me is saying Raiders beat the Saints. So I'm going with it.
Well, they're the safer pick because, they're the safer pick.
We shall see. You know what? The bottom line, though, is this show has gone way too long. We've rambled a lot. We've talked too much. Not only have we not gained new fans, we've probably lost our Wyatt. And so it's probably about time to say goodbye, don't you think? Don't you think?
Sure.
Absolutely.
Jeez, he let me down there. What a loser.
That's what I was hoping for.
Okay.
Let him down. That's what I live for. I've been doing it for 30 plus years.
That's because he's a big pile of... Okay, guys. We are out of here in 3, 2,